one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
I want to make it clear that the views expressed by our hosts are not considered the official stance of MBR Views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Tracer Round Podcast. A tracer round is a type of ammunition designed to help visually track the path of rounds fired. Tracers show where you need to adjust or redirect fire. Join Army veteran Sergeant First Class Terry Lynch for Tracer Rounds, the first ever podcast of its type. Whether it be military, music, sports, politics, education, relationships, or gender issues, no target is off limits or out of bounds. Are you on target? Or does your fire need to be recalibrated? Whether you adjust fire or fire for effect, tune in to Tracer Rounds, where the range is always open and there are rounds going down range.
Hi, welcome to Tracer Rounds. My name is Terry, your host, and I have with me in studio the Director of Operations for Team Rubicon, Son Walker. Please tell me I said your name right.
You did. Perfect, Terry. And great to be here.
Yay. Well, I'm so excited to welcome Team Rubicon and to welcome Son because Team Rubicon follows a lot of what I used to do in the military. I used to be an EPLO, an Emergency Preparedness Liaison Officer, and I worked in Region 6. And Team Rubicon does disaster work all over the place. But I want to get to Son's role, but before I do that, I want to talk about his military service. He's an Army veteran, so hua to you.
What?
But can you tell us what your MOS was and some of the places you were assigned? I'm interested to hear a little bit about you as well.
Excellent. Again, Terry, great to be here. As Terry said, I'm with Team Rubicon, the Director of Operations. Yes, so I am a retired Army veteran. I spent a little over 21 years in the military, had several MOSs, started out with Signal Quartermaster and then ended up in HR Operations. Retired as a first sergeant. Love being a first sergeant, love being in the Army, love being a part of a team. And again, as I transitioned out of the Army, I always wanted to still serve. And so everything, my whole pathway for the last 14 years has been around service. And again, a couple of my assignments, one of my favorite duty assignments is Fort Bragg, was at Fort Benning. Spent some time at Camp Fort Wainwright in Alaska, which was my favorite duty station, even though it was cold. But some of my mates up there were some of the best mates. Some of the training that we did up there was just great. Spent some time at Fort Dix. Got deployed as a first sergeant in Iraq. Did some time in Haiti. Did some time in Egypt. Again, just all over, whether it was abroad, stateside. As we always do, we adapt. we get accustomed to our surroundings, and we have a good time and do the work that's in front of us. But again, after I retired, I said, hey, I was tired of wearing DCUs, BDUs, and everything that we had to wear, whether it was dirty, whether it was wet, whether it was cold. I wanted to really get into the environment where I can probably sometimes wear a regular suit. And so when I decided to retire about 14 years ago, February 1st in 2011, and I'll give my age, I was 40 years old when I retired. So right now I'm 42 years old. So just been a little funny. But I spent 21 years. And then after that, I went into in corporate America, worked with some great organizations, was there for about 3 years. Was what I loved about being in that first organization. It gave me my foothold into working in the civilian workforce and working in a corporate environment where I was doing a lot of the HR operations and managing recruiters, building initiatives around hiring veterans, initiatives around diverse recruitment, internship, college recruitment, and all those different sorts of things. And just partnering with so many different departments within that corporate environment. From there, and while I was there, this is what I did. I Googled, how can veterans still serve? And another organization came up that does great work. The mission continues, does great work. And I said, hey, I want to continue to serve. And so they were crazy. And they said, what are you talking about? You want to go just volunteer? And so I said, hey, yeah, I want to do something. And I was really making some really good money there. But I still miss that opportunity to serve. And so I did that with the Mission Continues for about 18 months. And from that, I partnered with some great nonprofit organizations. And one of those nonprofits was Habitat for Humanity International. And I did a lot of great work with them, why veterans want to continue to serve after they remove the uniform. And so I did some good working groups with Habitat for Humanity International. But after that, and I partnered with some of the big wigs inside of International. And they offered me and said, hey, we have a job, an associate director over Veterans Bill. And that job had me really focusing on affordable housing for veterans, doing some great repairs on veterans that homes are not really up to standard, but working with some great organizations while I was doing it, whether they were other nonprofits, other for-profits, or other VSOs that we were working with when I was working at Habitat International. While I was there, got a great offer to work with the Home Depot Foundation, which, as anyone know about Home Depot Foundation, they really serve veterans. And they offered me a great opportunity to work there as a manager of strategic partnerships, and which was great because one of the partners that I was continuing to manage was the Habitat International partnership, along with other nonprofits. And I say that because when I was with the Mission Continues and also with Home Depot Foundation, that's how I was able to partner with Team Rubicon. And I remember being at Home Depot for about 4 or 5 years. And while I was there, I used to fund Team Rubicon and the great work they do around disaster response, long-term recovery, some of the employment opportunities inside of Team Rubicon. So I was able to get to know Team Rubicon from 2014 all the way back then until one time I ran across a job description. And it was while I was doing some consulting work. After I left the Home Depot Foundation, I started doing some consulting work. And I ran across this beautiful role, operation of director of operations of the South Branch. And when I read it, it just spoke to me. And if you know anything about service, if you know anything about giving back, if you know anything about commitment to make sure that communities are well taken care of after they're left on their worst day, anybody would have been sold on that position. And so once I saw that Team Rubicon was hiring for a director of operation, and me knowing them again since 2014 and how they operate, and me being a volunteer with them as a corporate partner, I saw the great work. So I applied, got the role, and I've been here since 2022. So that's a little over 2 years, and loving every bit of what we do to support our communities. Probably went a little too long, Terry, but I wanted to give a good background.
No, I appreciate the whole backstory because it really speaks to why you are where you are and why you're doing what you're doing. So
Yes,
I
definitely.
appreciate that backstory and that information. Yeah.
Excellent.
So can you um so I was reading through all the talking points, and basically Team Rubicon has been a service organization for 14 years. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely. So Team Rubicon is a veteran-led organization that serve communities globally before, during, and after disasters and humanitarian crisis. Now, we've been around since 2010. Started with 8 uh, warriors in gray shirts and kick-ass civilians in Haiti, and from that, we've been around for 14 years. We're now up to 175,000 volunteers, local volunteers from Canada to international to the domestically. We've launched over 1,200 operations responding to disasters, humanitarian crisis around the globe. The 3 things that we really focus on with Team Rubicon is, as I said before, disaster response. Now, with the disaster response, that can be recovery operations, that can be mitigation, that can be things from tornadoes, impact of tornadoes, hurricane, fires, flooding, you name it, anything around disaster response. And we also do recovery operations as well. We also have a program inside of Team Rubicon called Rebuild, really around long-term recovery. And that's really making homes more resilient for people and clients that are going to move in a home that has been destroyed by a natural disaster. We don't only rebuild that home, we make sure that it's more resilient. So if it is impacted by a flood, winds, tornadoes, hurricane, whatever that is, it'll be a little bit harder to really penetrate and destroy the home as it once did before we did that. Now, we also operate, as I said, globally. So we partner international as well. So most of our international partnerships are around investing our ability to respond internationally around medical, water, sanitation, and hygiene. So we have a really robust team, really dedicated medical professionals. And we were one of the first organizations, nonprofits that were verified and confirmed by the World Home WHO to make sure that what we did was impactful, what we did was certified, what we did was credentialed. So the World Health Organization made sure that we were certified in doing that. So that's a little background on where we are. Some of the things that we are currently doing right now, and I'll speak because I know, Terry, you're in Texas. So I'll talk a little bit about, when we talk about our response and what we're doing just currently in the Texas area. We are right now on the ground with about 60 gray shirts, and gray shirts is what we affectionately call our volunteers that partner with us. And so we have 2 operations or 2 projects that are going on right now in Harris County, which is Houston. And we also have an operation that is going on in Matagorda and Mauricio counties that is a little bit an hour and a half south of there. And each, like I said before, we have between 25 and 30 gray shirts in those areas. And some of the great work they're doing there is doing some expedient home repairs. And expedient home repairs is they're doing tarping, putting up, making sure that the structures of the windows are not penetratable, are not penetrated. We're doing chainsaw operations. We're doing debris removal. So if someone has a tree that prevents egress, ingress to their properties, we're able to use our SARs, our HE equipment to make sure the debris is removed. If anything has been penetrated into a home, we're making sure that we remove that home. We make sure that we work with the EMs in the local municipalities to make sure that we're able to remove and move those things to a safe environment to where they can be picked up. Another thing that we're doing, because they were hit with a lot of rain as well, so we want to make sure that we're doing tarping, and putting those tarps can prevent inside of a home from being destroyed. And if a home has been destroyed based on the rain, we also are doing muck outs. So muck outs is really cleaning up, making sure that home is spotless. It doesn't create mold. We want to make sure that the home is totally clean. So once the contractors are coming in, and we make those Team Rubicon clean. So once those contractors are there and they're ready to do their work, they're able to move in, do all the things that they have to do to make sure that home is whole, but we're there to make sure everything is good to go from our side.
Awesome. Well, I think we have a comment on TikTok, and I think Riz is going to tell us what the comment is.
Okay.
So the comment from TikTok came from Noelle with Lady Liberty Foundation, which I'm a part of.
Oh, nice.
She wants to connect with you about who knows what, but she just texted in the group thing. She wants to connect with you.
If she wants to connect with me or Team Rubicon.
I'm assuming either.
Okay.
Would work.
Excellent. I think to connect with Team Rubicon, whether it's a volunteer, you can go to teamrubiconusa.org. Follow the prompts. It'll ask you, how do you want to support? How do you want to get involved? Excuse me. And so the two things you have to do to actually be a gray shirt, as I said, that's what we call our volunteers. And that's the number one thing you can be in Team Rubicon is a gray shirt. Okay. Is to do a simple internal background check that takes about 2 minutes during the application process. And you have to take a short TR 101 course. Once you're complete with that, everything goes through. You'll become eligible to become a gray shirt. But to really become an official gray shirt, you got to get out there and get that gray shirt dirty.
Okay, so one other thing is not personal with her, but with our foundation. It's called Lady Liberty Foundation. We help a lot of the ways that you do, except we're more personal with veterans and first responders, trying to help them versus doing like disaster relief type of stuff. So she asked how we could come together to possibly help you guys and vice versa type thing.
I think one of the best ways, and we've partnered with external partners. So for instance, if this organization has a great relationship within the communities, and we know a veteran that needs our help, or we know a first responder that needs our help, sometimes when we're using crisis cleanup, or we're using any of our other partners to really evaluate which clients are in need of what we do, sometimes we partner with external partners that can have that access and can provide us that connection with those veterans that may need our help in those areas. So awesome. That's what we do that quite often.
Thank you. She just said yes, so she'll look into that.
Excellent.
So I'm going to mute myself back.
Okay, we need to take a break, but when we come back, we'll continue discussing Team Rubicon and the great work that they do with Son Walker. So hang on to your questions. You can put them in the chat, or you can call in, and we'll be back in just a moment.
It's the guts and it's the glory, 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey, from the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. much in love. Hey. Hey.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hi, welcome back to Tracer Rounds on Military Broadcast Radio, where veterans are given their voice. And in the studio today, it's Team Rubicon, and we have Son Walker, who is the Director of Operations. Before we went to break, we were talking about a lot of the good work that Team Rubicon does. And we were going to talk a little bit about the different operations that you do.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I wanted to go into kind of how we structure our goals and priorities, and then I'll ease into some of our core capabilities on what we do when we're serving our community. So in 2024, and you look at it, it doesn't change too much, because really our mission and what we try to impact communities really doesn't change. But we wanted to, our 24 established priorities and goals is one of the things that I had kind of mentioned in the intro, is one of them is respond to the need. So one of the things when we talk about respond to the need, we're talking about responses, recovery, mitigation. And each one of those, when we talk about mitigation, we're talking about flood mitigation, fire mitigation. And another thing that we talk about is recovery ops. So say, for instance, we don't want to just go into a community and just respond. And we respond and we're there from a week to 4 months. As we were in Ian, we were in Ian for 4 months. But we want to also come back and do recovery operations, because there's a lot of things that we can't get to, or people are still trying to evaluate their needs. The communities, the officials are probably still evaluating their needs. So we actually go back and we also do recovery operations as well. On top of that, when we talk about continue to serve through engagement. And so that's our second priority and goal. And when we talk about service through engagement, what we were trying to do and what we do is make sure we're doing service projects. So a lot of people associate us with, just doing disaster response, and we do a kick-ass job at doing that. But we wanted to make sure that we were also doing service projects similar to where you would see Habitat does, Salvation Army, Red Cross. And the reason why we really wanted to do that, because we wanted to make sure that we were bringing people in that when they volunteer, they're usually accustomed to doing food insecurities, building affordable housing, building dog beds, doing repairs on clients' homes. So we had strategically intentional, like we always have done this, but in 2024, we wanted to be intentional about it. So we wanted to make sure, again, we're bringing people in, they're getting accustomed to see how Team Rubicon does things that they're familiar with, get to know the gray shirts that they're volunteering with. But then when it's time to go to that Cat 1, Cat 2, or Type 1, Type 5 operation, they'll be able to come and feel comfortable with the people that they're serving with. So we really wanted to be intentional about doing engagement through service. Now, how do you get all this things done? You have to train for it. And so we have so many dynamic training opportunities inside of TR. And a lot of the trainings that we do are somewhat fall same line as some of the ICS training that FEMA offers. So from 100 to 200, 300, 700 courses, we do those. If you wanted to get understanding on how to be a log section chief or operations section chief, all the things that are affiliated with ICS, we also provide that free of charge with inside of Team Rubicon. Now, if you want to get really dirty and get into the grind of what we really, a lot of things that we do, becoming a certified as a SAR from a SAR 1, AS1, AS2. So we actually provide training on how do you properly use a saw to take down a big tree, a big limb, to remove debris, to make sure that you're doing it the proper way. We offer those training as well. We also offer training on how do you properly go out and do a recon of a community to let us know that the need is still there. So we offer classes on how to properly do a recon, how to properly do advons. And we also make sure that we teach our people how to do tarps. How do you do muck outs? So those are core capability kind of operations. We also provide just-in-time training. So say, for instance, we know that we're getting ready to go, and I'll use Harris County in Houston as just an example. Say we get there and we know that we're going to have a big tarping project, and we may not have so many people on the ground that understand how to tarp. So we would have fly in an instructor, and we usually are able to evaluate that prior to hitting ground. We'll evaluate the need and the lack thereof as our gracious with that capability, and we'll provide just-in-time training during that operation. So we get people qualified on how to tarp during that time. We do the same thing for if we know that it's saw heavy, that we're going to be doing a lot of debris removal, saw work. We train people just in time during that operation on how to actually operate and be able to help us with removing limbs, trunks, trees, and falling, all those things. So we get that as well. Our fourth thing is making sure that we improve on standardizing what we do. So within TR, it's made up of 3 branches. As I said, I'm the director of the South Branch. We have a director of West Branch, and we have a director of the North Branch. And our 4th branch is our mission support branch, which, kind of provide and governs the policies that we go forward with. So we wanted to standardize what we do. So if I was to have a colleague that's a gray shirt in the North Branch, and they were going to do an operation with us in the South Branch, it's not too different because we standardize it and we made sure that almost what we do is similar. So you can step in, plug and play, and go forward with that. So those are our 4 goals and priorities. And within that, I did talk about our core capabilities.
So you're talking about the different branches, and so you have volunteers that are only in a specific, or can they volunteer throughout the whole U.S. or international? Is there some kind of like division with states for volunteers too, or is it like you can be in any group you want to be in?
Yeah, so we have, like I said before, we have over 175,000 volunteers. Usually the volunteers are located and they're usually localized. So I have I believe there's probably 50,000 volunteers within the South Branch. North Branch has their North Branch gray shirts, wow, and West Branch has theirs. But the one thing that's good about it is that a lot of times if we have a type 1, a type 2, or type 3 operation, and that's just the size of it. So if you have a Cat 5 hurricane coming in, a Cat 4, as we did with Ian, and also Adalia, those are probably going to be type 1, type 2 operations. So it's all people on deck. And so we may have people flying in. I'll give you an example and use Texas. And I hate to keep using Texas, but we got 2 active operations there. I had to fly in people from Chicago, from Kentucky, from Colorado, from Virginia. And what's great about it is that we have some great donors that provide us E-Pass. We have a great partnership with Southwest that provide us E-Pass. So if I have to fly in people and we can't perform the operation locally, and when we say locally, it's usually within 450 miles. It's where we really want to pull our volunteers from. And if we have to fly in our personnel to support an operation, again, we have excellent donors. We also partner with Airlink, and we had to use both. We had to use Southwest and we had to use Airlink to support the operations, the 2 operations that we're doing in Texas. So we will fly in other volunteers from other branches to support an operation if need be.
So I had a question. We were talking before the show that you're going to with FEMA Region 6. So what is your relationship with the different FEMA regions, and how do you interact? Because you'd be under the umbrella of the NGOs. Is that the way you would be plugged and played, or is there another way that you'd be implemented, or your wheels would start turning, you would go wheels up for a response operation?
Yeah, what is great, we have in the South Branch, we have a great partnership with Tony Robinson, the regional administrator from FEMA 6. and we have a great partnership with Region 4 as well. What we do at throughout the year, we have to build partnerships, and it's not. And I'll go back to the FEMA, but we have to make sure that we're local. We have to understand who's the EMs at the county level. We have to make sure who's the fire chiefs. We have to make sure that we're partnering with some of the government, local, state government agencies. We did so well with some of the senators and governors in Florida when we were in Ian. When we were in Oklahoma, we partnered with their EM director. So throughout the year, and this is how we color code it. So every 90 days, we have to make sure that we contact the BOAS, the EMs, because we have a color code. So if it's green, we've done it in the last 90 days. If it's amber, we haven't talked to someone in 6 months. Once it hits red, that means we haven't talked to someone in 12. So we try to stay at green or in between yellow, because key local partnership is how we're able to get speed to need as quick as possible. So if I go back to the FEMA reason, one of the great reasons why we partner with FEMA has so many contacts. When you look at FEMA Region 6, I manage 12 states. And so when you look at FEMA Region 6, we partner with them with every state, excluding New Mexico, because my colleague in the West Branch manages New Mexico. But every state under Region 6, I manage that, and every region under FEMA Region 4, I manage that. So it's imperative for us for training, for access, for us to track the movement of storms, for us to understand. And I'll say this, even just to make sure we can build a partner with the Native American communities within inside of those FEMA regions. We make sure we partner with them. I'm going to be meeting with Tony and his team in August. We haven't met with them in about 2 years, but we still stay in contact with them. But I wanted to re-engage him because we've had some org changes. They've had org changes. We had some policies and processes that have changed. So I want to provide that with them because, again, the more that we collaborate, the more that we communicate, the quicker that we're able to react and get in those communities. We firmly believe being proactive so we can react. And so us building those partnerships with 4 and 6 and my other colleagues that are in the other regions, 4, 5, and 8 and all the other ones. But it's important for us to build those partnerships with FEMA 4 and 6 because, again, they've been so helpful for us. Because, again, some of the obstacles that we run into when we're trying to go to these different operations is billeting. We have to have billeting. And sometimes we partner with the state, and sometimes we partner with FEMA. And FEMA has excellent camps that we utilize. We utilize them for Delia. We utilize their facilities for Ian. And so for us, being able to build those partnerships, we probably can get great opportunities to have good billing and lodging for our team members. We also make sure that we partner with different organizations around meals because sometimes, we're in areas and people love to feed gray shirts. And so sometimes we get in kind donation for meals. Also, and as you know, sometimes in the military, we're usually used to austere environments. And sometimes when you deploy with Team Rubicon, that happens. So we try to make sure that we alleviate some of that as much as we can. And so the way we do that is partnering with some great local, federal, and state agencies that can really assist us in some of those as well as great corporate partners.
Right. Well, we're going to need to go to a break, but when we come back, I want to ask a couple questions, so I'll let you think about one of the answers while I'm gone, but I want to know how Team Rubicon got its name. That's first. And then I wanted to see if you connected with Item C in Oklahoma, and we'll talk about that when we come back. So if you have any questions, though, you can put it in the chat, and we'll address it when we come back, but otherwise, we're going to hit a quick commercial, and we'll be right back.
Another regular day, nobody knows. It's that time, he's coming home to them from a foreign land. He pulls up, his mama cries, looks at daddy with tears in his eyes and says, nothing feels better than this. Couple of months go by and no one sees. Something just ain't right, all he wants is peace. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free and put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again. He gets help, but he still feels off, sees an ad on the TV about a dog batting said, this is a man's best friend. Whoa, so he goes one day and he picks it up. Never thought a dog could bring so much love and put a smile on his face. But he's finally found a saving grace. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free. Put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again. Whoa, whoa. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free. Put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hi, welcome back to MBR, Giving Veterans a Voice. You're on the Tracer Rounds podcast, and my name is Terry, and I have with me in studio Son Walker, who is with Team Rubicon. And before we went on the break, I asked him to give me the backstory on how Team Rubicon got its name.
Excellent, Terry. Thanks for that opportunity, man. It really is a great story, and hopefully I can give it justice in my version of telling the story. As I mentioned, Team Rubicon started with around 8 comrades, and the way we look at Team Rubicon, and if you remember, in your history books, when Caesar was, I believe it was Gaul that they were fighting against, and he came to a river, and he told his warriors that was with him that, if we cross here, is a point of no return, which is the Rubicon. And so when those 8 individuals, those 8 servant leaders got to, they came through Dominican Republic. And when they said, hey, back in 2010, we want to make a difference in the people that were impacted in Haiti. Guys, once we cross over from Dominican Republic into Haiti, we're crossing the Rubicon. And so they were a team. And so when they came during that whole duration, once they came to the end of it, we are going to be called Team Rubicon, because they took that courage to cross into that Rubicon with not enough really resources. People really didn't know who they were, but they wanted to give back. They wanted to serve. They wanted to be the greatest servant leaders that they could be at the time. So they took that courage and crossed over into Haiti, and that was their Rubicon. And the way we kind of have, and I told you before, what we affectionately call our gray shirts. Our volunteers are gray shirts. So that gray shirt came about when they were looking for, say, okay, we need a uniform. We need something that people would know who we are. And we need something cheap that still let people know who we are. So they saw a gray shirt in one of those stores that sell gray shirts with nothing on it. And they said, hey, we're going to have this gray shirt. We're going to put this white banner across it. And this is going to be the most rewarding thing that anybody can be called within TR is a gray shirt. And so now, in order to wear that shirt, you got to be on operation. And we have that white stripe across the front. So you can put your name on there so people know that you are and you have earned that gray shirt and it's dirty. So that is the origin of Team Rubicon and how our organization obtained their name.
That is an awesome story. I had no idea. I'm so glad I asked. I think that's very inspiring.
It's excellent.
I was also going to ask you if you've heard. No, go ahead. I want you to finish, please.
No, I said when we tell that story to people, and there's a wonderful kind of voiceover that is about 5 to 8 minutes long, and if you ever get a chance to go to our website, you got to look at that, and it actually talks and it just motivates you to want to get out there, put your gray shirt on, get out there and get sweaty, get out there and serve a community. And after you're finished, hug that person that you serve, grab hands with your fellow people that you serve with. And that's what that video, and I love it, is about. Like I said, it's about 5 to 8 minutes long. And it really kind of tells the story on how Team Rubicon came to be.
Nice. Well, we just got somebody on TikTok named Cousin Larry, and he's ready to help. So can you direct him on where to go so that he can help, so he can volunteer for Team Rubicon?
Yes, Cousin Larry, please go to teamrubiconusa.org. Follow the prompts. It'll ask you to press a certain button to join. And like I said before, all you have to do is do a quick background check, which is covered with by TR internal. And then you go and you take the TR 101, just give me a history about Team Rubicon. And once you complete those, you'll get contacted by your administrator. And once you see something that's out there that you want to do, whether it's a training, whether it's an op, whether it's a service project, come and join us and you'll be a gray shirt.
So I have a question. So I know everybody's a volunteer, but you're not having to pay for your own expenses while you're deployed, are you? There's a per diem or something? There's some kind of offset for the people that are there working the actual disaster and responding?
Yes, there's no pay. You don't pay for billets. We have a program that we provide per diem. And that's, and all of that is really on our website on how that works. Is equate to how many miles, if it's 150 miles, if it's a number of days, all of that comes into that equation. But there's no funding that someone else has to pay for to do what we do. But we do try to compensate for per diem based on the distance and based on number of days.
Awesome. So I read that, but I wanted everybody else to hear that as well. But I guess cousin Larry, which I don't know, and I need to get to know, he is the CEO of the Lady Liberty Foundation. So he's ready to engage in which way that he can, with you either partnering or maybe having some of his people volunteering. So he said, oh no, he said have about 60 people all over the state. So I think they're ready to engage some of their people in Team Rubicon. So that's really exciting.
That's
I'm
excellent.
really
Now,
thrilled to hear that. That's why I wanted to talk.
Where's cousin Larry located? Where's his organization located?
So Lady Liberty Foundation is based out of Florida.
Okay. That's
Larry,
my original home state. So I love Florida.
Larry and his wife Noelle are the founders, and then me and my wife and another couple were all the managers, and we all work together. So that's we're trying to bring foundations together.
Excellent. And you mentioned Florida because, and I know Terry, I wanted to kind of mention some of the things that we do in partnership with some of our partners. So we have an excellent opportunity for veterans to partner with us. We have a partnership with GAF, and we're actually doing a trades academy to teach people how to lay roofing, to how to sell roofing products, and that's going to be happening in Tampa, Florida. And I believe it's the week of the 22nd of April is when that all kicks off. And that's just a wonder. That's part of our Trades Academy program. And again, we have a partnership with GAF. Is open to, we try to prioritize it, our veterans, our gray shirts, but it's also open to the community. And it's also, again, on Team Rubicon, USA.org. And you'll see that. You just search Trades Academy, and you'll see that it's also out there on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn and you type in Trades Academy, Team Rubicon, GAF, that would also pop up. But that's one of the great things, too, that we do. We try to step outside the box. We try to make sure that you're not going to only volunteer with Team Rubicon. You're going to gain a talent, a skill with us. We try to make sure that we have people that maybe want to go and work for the state, want to work in emergency management. And so we make sure we provide those training. We may have people that want to create an environment where they can go out and work with an organization that understands how to do debris removal. And so we train that. We may have people that want to work with a company that actually goes out and does their own muck out, and all the things that we do to make sure that these homes are clean and ready for contractors. But again, we always look to that. We're not trying to just bring TR veterans, first responders, and some of our kick-ass civilians into what we do, but we're trying to prepare them for them as well to be self-sufficient.
I can promise you, one of us will be reaching out about this foundation on TikTok. They're having their own conversation about this. Larry said he has a bit of expertise in this side and business side. And then Noelle said, are we talking similar to FEMA's online training or more hands-on? So that was a question.
It's both. We have online training and we have in-person training. And we have training for our command and general staff. Training as well. And so most of our training is a combination. We have online training and we also have in person. And we have a good partnership where we've also worked with FEMA to allow us to join them in some of their training as well. Okay.
And excuse me, that was not Noelle that said that. That was Old Bean. He's a gentleman on TikTok watching.
Okay. Excellent. That's great. I love the engagement.
Nice.
And there's another question for you. It says, what about crisis training? Do you guys have anything along those lines?
Not particularly. I think the most of our crisis type training, it depends on if we're talking about you have active shooter training and all those types of things. We don't really do that. What's interesting, my Florida associate is working with a organization down in Florida to be role players to help an organization train if any type of active shooter occurs. But internally, we don't train crisis. Now, the only one that does that type of training is probably international. Is our international team, because some of the things that they go into could be hostile. And so they work on different type of crisis reaction type training that they prepare for the international side of what we do. And that's TRI for short, but it's Team Rubicon International. And that's also accessible on our website as well.
Awesome.
So I know there's a Team Rubicon Canada too. So is that part of the international, or is that totally separate?
That's separate. It was great because every year we have a hurricane exercise at our National Operations Center. So if we activate our EOC, we have an EOC that's headquartered out of our NOC in Dallas, Texas, in it's really Grand Prairie. And it was great. We had our training, I believe it was this past May, and we invited TR Canada to partake in that, and they enjoyed it. That's the first time I really met a lot of their key staff members, but we try to make sure we partner. Again, I mentioned that standardization of what we do, but it was great to have TR Canada come and join us for that week that we were in Dallas at our National Operations Center. But we had that training because we were preparing. We do that every year right before hurricane season because we want to be ready for when that EOC needs to be activated. And we activated it last year for Adalia, and we activated that EOC the year prior for Ian.
Well, that's interesting that you mentioned you have an EOC in Grand Prairie. I also worked for the city of Grand Prairie as well, but EOCs are kind of my thing. So when you come to town, if you don't mind, will you show me the EOC in Grand Prairie? Because I'm only a hop, skip, and a jump from there.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, my deputy director, and my ops manager will be there from the 6th to the 8th, and I have your email. I have your contact. You have my contact information. I'll let you know when we're in town, and I'll give you a tour.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I know
awesome. That would be awesome.
I'm sorry. I know that I had mentioned a little bit about our core capabilities, and just go over them real quick because just want to show the variety of the things that we do when we're supporting our community. So if you look at, like I said before, and I mentioned this a couple of times, we do debris removal. We do expedient home repairs. We do EOC support. So not just for TR EOC, but we would support the EOC in Florida, the EOC in Carolinas, EOCs in New Mexico. I had a tour of the EOC in Oklahoma. We also do hazard mitigation. So we make sure that flood mitigation, fire mitigation, but we also do home ignition zone work. And home ignition zone work is making sure that areas around a structure or around a park has all the things alleviated that will cause fires that will impact that structure. So we do home ignition zone preparedness as well. We do incident management, site surveys. The site surveys that we do, those help us to make sure that when we get to a site, I'll get to a community, that we have a team of individuals that actually go out and actually do an evaluation of the site before we actually send individuals out there. So we may have a site survey team that goes out and they'll find 10 potential work orders. And so they upload that information, so we're actually able to pull those. So we have people that go out and do site surveys. Route clearance is making sure that we're able to create ingress and egress for certain first responders or for communities. We also manage volunteer management. So we may get a request to manage a group of volunteers for different organizations so we can support a community. We did that in Dallas for the tornadoes. We worked with an organization to manage their volunteers that were going to help impact a community. So we do a plethora of different things, and we do them all. And I don't want to just say it for TR. We We train to make sure that we're experts when we get on the ground to do those things. But I just want to go over some of our core capabilities.
Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate Lady Liberty Foundation being on tonight. And Cussing Larry said he's looking forward to connecting. So I'm so happy that there's connections going to happen, because I think both organizations can do really great things together. So I'm really excited about that potential and that opportunity. So shout out to Cussing Larry with the Lady Liberty Foundation, because we appreciate that connection and that willingness to help and serve. So I wanted to tell you, I've done a lot of disaster work in Oklahoma. I was assigned to Oklahoma. That was my state. I was in FEMA Region 6, but I was the state representative for Oklahoma. So I wanted to just touch base to see if you knew about Item C, which is the Intertribal Emergency Management Coalition, and they are the ones that do all the tribes are part of it. It's an emergency management for Indian Nation tribes. And so that's the organization you want to partner up with when you go to Oklahoma, because they have all the resources. They have all the hotels. They have all the food. They have the best food ever. Let me just say, if you need food, they've got it. Like they go above and beyond. So I would partner up with them, because they really are very strong across Oklahoma, and very strong with making sure that all their partners are taken care of. So any work for any tribal nation homes would go through them.
I would love to for you to make that contact with us. I know when I was there, I was in Oklahoma at the Oklahoma Emergency Management Agency conference earlier this year. So I got to meet several people while I was there. But as you know, you have to make sure you have the right connection with the tribal nations to make sure that you're welcome into that space. And so I would love to be able to, if you can point me in the right direction, we definitely want to be able to make sure that we can make a difference, because a lot of the different reservations, a lot of the tribal nations, they are being impacted, even without disasters, just with some of the things that we can do to help repair some of the deficiencies that may be at their homes. We want to be able to partner with them. We were able to partner with, I believe it was with the tribal nation Homa, and I believe it was in Oklahoma, or maybe it had been Louisiana. But one of the key things that we're going to discuss with Tony Robinson and his team is how can we really get into the tribal nations and make a difference from our perspective, and be a partner and doing the things in their community. So that's one of the things that I'm passionate about prior to coming to Team Rubicon. But I want us to be able to partner with those tribal nations to make a difference.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. I'll connect back with some of my former emergency management folks. They still are at it, still doing the work in Oklahoma. So I'll reach out to them, because it's been a couple of years since I've been to a tribal summit, because they usually have those annually, and it's usually at one of the casinos in Oklahoma. So I will see. I didn't see the announcement for 2024, so it's possible they're still going to meet. So I'll find out for you and I'll let you know. But we only have a few minutes left, so I wanted you to just go ahead and tell people how to donate if they want to donate to Team Rubicon. I know you have a couple of options there. And then again, how they partner and become a gray shirt, or if they're a civilian, how they become one of the kick-ass civilians that you have.
Excellent. Thanks, Terry. So real quick, to donate, please visit Team Rubicon USA /give, or use our text to give program. Text the word Rubicon to 2022 to donate $10 to Team Rubicon. Text the word team to 20222 to donate $25 to Team Rubicon. You can also sign up as a volunteer to deploy during any local operation or any training that we have, any service project. You're welcome to join us. It's a great team. If you want to continue to serve and you want to be a great servant leader, we have that in throws here. And would love to be able to partner with anyone on this call, like anyone that can hear our voices about Team Rubicon. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of the people that were on this call as we work alongside each other to make a difference in these communities.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I am super excited to have Team Rubicon and have Sean Walker here in studio with me. And so we look forward to seeing how big your volunteer list goes from this, because we're super excited about the work you do. So thank you so much for being here.
Excellent. Thank you, Tracy, for providing. Terry. God, thank you, Terry, for being gracious with your time. And I truly appreciate you inviting Team Rubicon here and myself to tell our story and what we do.
Thank you. And so till next time, this is Tracy Round signing off.
That's the show for today, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with an all-new show. And remember, you can listen to us again and again. The podcast of this radio show is available right after we go off the air tonight, anywhere that you can get your podcast episodes. And thanks for joining us today. I'd like to take a moment to talk about something close to my heart. Military Broadcast Radio is doing incredible work to support our veterans and bring their voices to the world. They rely on your generous donations and your dedicated volunteer hours to make it happen. I encourage you to consider supporting NBR in any way, form that you can. Use this QR code that's attached to the picture, or you can go to our website at mbradio.us. That's Mike Bravo Radio.us to learn more about how you can donate or volunteer even just an hour a week from your home. Help make a difference in the lives of our veterans, because once again, we're all here for you and not for us. We're giving our veterans a voice.